Most travelers arrive in Japan with a familiar picture already in their minds. They imagine Tokyo's neon lights, Kyoto's temples, crowded train stations, and the famous landmarks that appear in nearly every travel guide. Yet Japan has another side that quietly exists beyond the routes followed by most international visitors. The surprising thing is that some of Japan's most memorable experiences happen far away from the destinations that dominate social media and travel brochures. While millions of travelers follow similar itineraries every year, vast areas of the country remain remarkably overlooked despite offering extraordinary scenery, culture, and history. One reason these places remain hidden is geography. Japan stretches much farther than many visitors realize, with thousands of islands, remote mountain regions, coastal villages, and historic towns scattered across a landscape that feels incredibly diverse from one region to another. The further travelers move away from the major tourist corridors, the more Japan begins to reveal a different personality. The pace becomes slower, the crowds become smaller, and everyday life often feels more authentic than what visitors encounter in heavily visited destinations. One of the most beautiful examples can be found in Japan's countryside, where traditional villages remain surrounded by forests, mountains, and rice fields that have changed very little over generations. These communities offer a glimpse into a quieter version of Japan that many international travelers never experience. Walking through these rural landscapes feels very different from exploring a major city. Instead of traffic and crowds, visitors often find narrow roads, wooden homes, flowing rivers, and views that seem untouched by modern tourism. Many travelers are surprised to discover how much of Japan is covered by mountains. Beyond the famous peaks known around the world lies a network of valleys, forests, and highland regions where nature becomes the main attraction rather than an addition to the journey. These mountain areas often reveal some of Japan's most spectacular seasonal scenery. Spring brings blossoms beyond the famous urban parks. Summer covers hillsides in vibrant green. Autumn transforms entire valleys into displays of red and gold, and winter blankets villages in deep snow. One hidden side of Japan appears in the country's coastal communities. While many visitors focus on major cities, countless fishing towns and seaside villages continue traditions that have shaped local life for centuries. The atmosphere in these coastal regions often feels worlds away from Tokyo. Harbors fill with fishing boats, seafood markets reflect local routines, and daily life moves according to rhythms that have remained familiar for generations. Another surprising discovery for many travelers is Japan's remarkable collection of lesser-known islands. Beyond the destinations that attract international attention, dozens of islands offer unique cultures, dramatic coastlines, and landscapes that feel almost disconnected from modern urban life. Some islands are known for crystal-clear waters and beautiful beaches. Others attract visitors through art, nature, or traditions that differ noticeably from mainland Japan, creating experiences that feel completely unique. Many of these destinations require a little more effort to reach, which is one reason they remain relatively uncrowded. For travelers willing to venture beyond the easiest routes, the reward is often a far more personal experience of Japan. One of the most overlooked aspects of travel in Japan is the country's extraordinary regional diversity. Visitors sometimes assume Japanese culture feels relatively similar throughout the country, only to discover that food, architecture, traditions, and local customs can vary dramatically between regions. A meal enjoyed in one prefecture may be completely different from a meal served elsewhere. Local specialties often reflect geography, history, and traditions that have evolved independently over long periods of time. Historic towns provide another glimpse into the hidden side of Japan. While cities like Kyoto receive enormous attention, many smaller towns preserve traditional architecture and cultural heritage while attracting only a fraction of the visitors. Walking through these streets often feels like stepping into another era. Wooden buildings, stone pathways, and preserved districts create an atmosphere that encourages visitors to slow down and absorb the details around them. Around this stage of the journey, many travelers begin noticing something unexpected. The farther they move from the famous destinations, the more opportunities they find for spontaneous experiences that never appeared in any guidebook. A conversation with a local resident, a small family-run restaurant, or a quiet viewpoint overlooking a valley can become more memorable than visiting a famous landmark. These moments often define the hidden side of Japan better than any attraction ever could. Japan's rail network makes many of these discoveries surprisingly accessible. While international visitors often associate trains with major cities, rail lines extend into regions that reveal completely different perspectives on the country. The journey itself frequently becomes part of the experience. Trains pass through mountains, follow coastlines, and connect communities that most tourists never think to visit, transforming transportation into a form of sightseeing. Another hidden side of Japan appears after sunset. Outside the major entertainment districts, evenings often become remarkably peaceful as small-town towns and regional cities settle into routines that feel calm and inviting. Visitors expecting constant activity sometimes discover that these quieter evenings become some of their favorite travel memories. The slower pace allows them to appreciate details that might otherwise be overlooked. Japan's natural beauty becomes even more impressive when viewed beyond the most photographed locations. Waterfalls, forests, volcanic landscapes, lakes, and remote coastlines exist throughout the country, often without the crowds found at better-known destinations. Many travelers who venture into these areas discover a sense of space that feels surprising in a country often associated with dense urban environments. The contrast challenges many assumptions people have before arriving. One reason these hidden destinations leave such strong impressions is that they reveal the everyday Japan experienced by millions of residents. Visitors gain a broader understanding of the country by exploring places where tourism is present but not dominant. This perspective often changes the way travelers view Japan as a whole. The country becomes more than a collection of famous attractions and starts feeling like a complex, diverse, and deeply layered destination. The hidden side of Japan also rewards curiosity. Travelers who leave room for unexpected detours often discover places they had never heard of before arriving, creating memories that feel genuinely personal. Many experienced visitors eventually reach the same conclusion. The famous destinations deserve their reputation, but some of Japan's most meaningful experiences happen beyond the places that appear on every itinerary. This realization encourages travelers to approach future trips differently. Instead of asking what everyone else is visiting, they begin asking what they have not yet seen. For some, that means exploring remote villages. For others, it means discovering overlooked islands, mountain communities, coastal towns, or regional cities that rarely appear in international travel discussions. What unites these experiences is the feeling of discovery. The hidden side of Japan often feels less like sightseeing and more like exploration, even in a country with one of the world's most developed tourism industries. As Japan continues attracting record numbers of visitors, these lesser-known destinations may become increasingly valuable for travelers seeking something beyond the standard experience. They offer opportunities to connect with places that still feel personal, distinctive, and largely untouched by mass tourism. The greatest surprise is not that these places exist. The greatest surprise is how many travelers visit Japan without ever realizing how much of the country remains beyond the routes followed by most visitors. In the end, the hidden side of Japan is not defined by a single destination. It is defined by a willingness to look beyond the obvious, follow curiosity instead of crowds, and discover the places that reveal a deeper and more rewarding perspective on one of the world's most fascinating countries.